Call this meeting to order. Mary, roll please.
Archer.
Here.
Cloyd.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Redlin.
Here.
Showalter.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We'll start off with public comment if we have anybody signed up. We do not. So we'll move on to the consent agendas, items A and B. Item A is the 3/16/2026 commission meeting minutes. Item B is appropriation ordinances 2026-07 and 2026-07A and 2026-P07. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the commissioners on the consent agenda? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
I move that we approve consent agenda items A and B.
A motion by Commissioner Artzer,
Second.
second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll please.
Cloyd.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Redlin.
Yes.
Archer.
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Move on to presentations and proclamations. Move on to item B, which is Public Safety Communicators Week. Kent, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Would you like me to read this? National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week is April 12th through the 18th, which is next week. And we have a proclamation, just like we do annually at this time. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics and EMTs is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our law enforcement officer, paramedics, and EMTs and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Sherman County 911 Communications Center, or text, right, or send other messages. Whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Sherman County 911 Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and therefore be it resolved that the City of Goodland Commission declares the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of Goodland in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe.
Thank you for that, Kent. I just meant you had to give me the introduction. I was going to read it, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry to overstep.
No, you're fine. So we do have a representative from Sherman County Communications here. Would you like to say anything? Well, we certainly, on behalf of the entire city and the city commission, appreciate everything that you guys do. You're the kind of the unsung heroes of public safety. Get stuck in the basement and have to talk to people on the phone that are having some of the worst days of their lives, but yet you guys are the calm through the storm. So we appreciate everything you do.
Yes.
It's an honor for me to sign this, and we'd love to have you come up and take a picture with us if you would. Sure. Excellent.
I'm really bad at it. But I'm probably not gonna do better. I think that would get everyone. There's a smile. Alright. Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll see me from a mile away.
You are very reflective tonight. Rick, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item C, the SCCD annual report from Matt McKenzie, Board President. Matt, welcome to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Yeah, so I'm here tonight in the capacity of the board chair for Sherman County Community Development. And part of our effort to provide more visibility and accountability to you as one of our key funding partners, I brought our annual report. So I'll get into our history a little bit, but our organization has been around a while, and this may be the first time that the commission has got to see an annual report. So something we're working harder on, try to just provide more visibility on what we're doing. Plus, we're pretty dang proud of how 2025 went, so we're kind of telling everybody. So Josh has my slides, I think, so I will just kind of flow through this. Josh, you can go to the next slide. I just started out with our mission statement, just to remind everybody and kind of level set on who we are and what we do. And I think it's important to call out that it is Sherman County Community Development. Sometimes we get pretty focused on Goodland, and that's an important piece, but we represent the entire county, so Cañeredo and Edson and Rulton and all the other little towns or little, people that live in the county are represented here as well. But our mission statement is just simply to promote new business opportunities and actively support current businesses and develop Sherman County as a destination for visitors, economic growth, and prosperity. So next slide just gives a little bit of history on our organization. So we were formed in 2019 as an effort to bring together economic development, business enrichment, which would have formerly been known as Chamber of Commerce. We're trying to change that connotation a little bit, call it business enrichment, and then travel and tourism. So the first two, economic development and chamber, resided under the city, and travel and tourism was under the county, and there was a fair amount of disconnect, and maybe we weren't working together and getting things done as we could under one organization. So in 2019, we were formed to bring those three pieces together. So I'm going to kind of go through 2025. You can go on to the next slide. And I will talk about our successes in those buckets. So the first one really is around economic development and business retention and expansion. So I have the number wrong. Bert conducted 138 business visits in 2025. I had 132 on there, so he wants credit for those other 6. So I make sure that I don't miss that, and I should fix my slide. But anyway, that's the number of doors that he walked in and had a discussion around economic development and business retention or expansion with business members of our community. We helped 10 companies either expand or establish within the county in 2025. Just to quickly name those business expansions, so we helped Advanced Auto Body, Jason and Marcy Finley. We helped them with their expansion and their addition out there. Traditions Restaurant, Don and Justin Stacer, we helped them with their renovations in Freedom Hall and their addition in the restaurant. Jacob Lease with Flatland Jiu-Jitsu helped him establish in a Main Street building, and then Mason Dental helped them get established here as well. New businesses that came to town in 2025 that we helped establish: 535 Tattoo, Lexi Peden with Grit Fitness, Brett and Janelle Shields with NWK Pumping, and Mason Hitchens with his new plumbing business. So those businesses either grew or established for their first time in 2025 in the city. We also started working with a company called Retail Strategies in 2025. Retail Strategies is a national organization that promotes cities to industry partners across the U.S., meaning they get our names in front of big national businesses, regional businesses, corporations that may have interest in locating within the community. So they go out and represent us at trade shows, pitch us to those businesses as a place for them to come and establish. And I'll talk a little bit more about what they're doing. Well, I guess I can just do that right now while we're on it. So a couple examples of some things that they're doing on our behalf. We have asked them to help with the Urbans market the Steak and Shake building. So they would like to find a new tenant or potentially a new owner. It's kind of negotiable, I would say. But Retail Strategies has helped us put that on the national stage so that everyone across the U.S. knows that we have a great location right here on I-70 and we'd love to have something in it. They also have been doing some work with some other big national chains. They talked to Gambino's about potentially coming back to Goodland. Didn't really pan out. They've talked to a regional coffee chain about coming to Goodland called 11th Lane. And there has been some interest. And I would say that there is a fair amount of interest in properties around Walmart. They like to anchor things around bigger buildings and kind of draw in there. And we've got some property in that area that makes a lot of sense. So they're getting us on a national stage. So I'm going to talk more about them at the end of my presentation because there's more opportunity to do things with retail strategies, but we're going to need a little bit more help. Okay, next slide. So entrepreneurship and small business support. This is just a little bit of repetition in those 10 businesses that we help support, entrepreneurs and small businesses. We also hosted 4 network opportunities, network events. Would be what we call business enrichment, or think about Old Chamber, where we're gathering our current business owners together to have networking opportunities. We typically have someone host with a couple co-hosts, and then we highlight their businesses in those get-togethers and try to just promote each other and what's going on. And we're having some success. They started out with pretty good attendance, I would say, but we could always do better, and we just had one a couple weeks ago, and I would say we need to do better at getting more of our businesses to come, but we're starting again with something that's kind of been missing in our community. I will talk more about that $1,079,000 number there in a little bit, but that's the total capital that Bert has worked with the state of Kansas, or I guess Kansas Commerce, to bring in to support those 10 businesses. A little over $1 million flowed into our community in terms of capital for those businesses in 2025. Okay, next slide, travel and tourism. So this is Jessica's camp. My favorite thing to say here is 4,987 visitors signed our welcome book in 2025, and dang it if we couldn't get 13 more. We probably had over 5,000. Not everyone that stops at the visitor center signs the book, but 4,987 people did sign the book. So that's pretty exciting. That's 4,987 opportunities for Jessica and the staff at the Welcome Center to send somebody downtown. And that's what they do. They give them the rundown of Goodland, give them ideas on places to go eat, things to go see, things to stop at, where to get gas. That's a lot of opportunities to drive people that are traveling through into our community. We also active participant in the Highway 24 garage sales, downtown holiday events. So we supported the Parade of Lights in Santa at the museum this year. We hosted 3 park and play events, plus the shindig at the Smoky. We were part of Freedom Fest, or the 4th of July celebration at the fairgrounds. We provided the Midway entertainment at the fair. Of course, Flatlanders is kind of our marquee event that we host every year, and in conjunction with the Big Air ATV show, which was a huge success and was an ability to utilize our grandstands and our racetrack when it was kind of offline for 2025. That was a great way to put that facility to use, and it drew a huge crowd. And then the last thing that we really focus on, and shouldn't be last, but Main Street Crawl in partnership with the Tech College and also USD 352, where we get new students that are coming to town with the college. We get them on Main Street. We bring our teachers to Main Street, do a little appreciation for them, and highlight our businesses on Main Street to folks that maybe will be future customers. All right, next slide. So a big project, or a grant project, that we pushed hard in 2025 and will continue into 2026 is the mural project. So we have about $10,000 worth of grant money coming in for community revitalization, and we funneled that all into into murals across town. There are 13 murals in Goodland right now, and we've got 4 of those were supported through SCCD. So some folks did some things on their own. We were able to support 4 financially. These are 3 of my more favorites that are in town. So the Welcome to Goodland is right across the street over here. And there's a whole line of murals. You can take pictures or selfies there, and it's kind of meant to be interactive. Welcome to 67735 is on the old grocery store. And then the Goodland one there is on the building that we affectionately call the Collage Building, but 11th and Main. And that was a nice way to cover up a really ugly black spot that got painted on that building in the by a previous owner, and now it's a pretty cool mural. So we're excited about that. We are going to continue that grant, or that mural project, going into 2026. And we now have developed a map for all those 5,000 people that walk into the Welcome Center. They're going to get a map. Here's the 13 murals in Goodland. Go find them, and it'll send them all over the community. A couple other projects. I'll talk about building brilliance on the next slide, I think, or a couple slides from now. But the other thing, and a huge shout out to the city crew and Dustin with the help with hanging all the new Christmas lights. But I got more compliments on the new Christmas lights that we had this year than we've had a long time. So it was a great way to integrate a bunch of new lights into what we already have, and it really made our town look great. So that was another big project we supported in 25. All right, just a few regional things that we've done, or we did in 2025. Continue to try to strengthen our partnerships with you guys, with the county. We definitely are growing our partnership with the foundation, working pretty closely with Tina and that board. We have pretty frequent conversations with other regional chambers and state agencies. We participated in the Hanson Forum, which is a large gathering of economic development and foundations across Northwest Kansas. And it's an idea sharing and just a couple days to come together and talk about what's going well in our communities and listen to others and try to gain ideas on what we can do. And then Jessica has us represented within the Northwest Kansas Travel Council, Highway 24 Alliance, and the Kansas I-70 Association. A lot of times those meetings are virtual, but we have hosted a couple of those organizations here in Goodland as well, so bringing some people in and then getting to talk about Goodland through those organizations as well. Okay, next slide. So a couple businesses just to highlight. One's maybe not necessarily any reason other than they have a cool story. Of those 10, we're certainly excited about all of them, but a couple that are bigger stories, I think, and a really big impact on the community. I called out Traditions, mostly for the work that Dawn and Justin did to revitalize an underutilized building on Main Street. So the VFW acting there for a long time, that was their home. And it was certainly a building that had use, but has a lot more use today. And I think probably the coolest part of that whole story is it still is the home of the VFW and is a place for our veterans. So Dawn and Justin offer that to veterans to use for whatever they need at no cost. It's available to them on all military holidays at no cost, and they still have a home, but it put that building to bigger use and provided a pretty cool facelift to the north end of Main Street. And then the next one I wanted to call out was probably one of our biggest to-dos in 2025, and that was to draw a new veterinarian to Goodland, and specifically somebody that could focus on small animals and pets. We've got a couple really great large animal vets that do a tremendous service in the county, but we were able to attract Arissa Walkinshaw, who is soon to be a college graduate from CSU. She finishes up here next month, and she will start her practice in Doc Smith's old building. She bought that with a little bit of help from us and a local bank, and she's going to be able to provide that small animal service that's been missing in our community. So we're sending a lot of people to Colby and to St. Francis and to other communities to find a place to get care for their pets, and we'll have that opportunity now with Arissa and Goodland, and she is already making some great improvements to that building. If you haven't driven by, she's improved the face of the building. I'm sure she's making strides inside as well, but she is almost here and almost up and running, so that's pretty exciting. Okay, kind of wrapping up success stories here just a little bit, but Building Brilliance was a Main Street facade program that we pushed in 2025. We supported with grant dollars and some local match as well. We were able to support these six that are listed there, Main Street buildings, Main Street property owners that were able to make some really nice facade improvements. So we've talked about Stacers a lot and what they did with Freedom Hall. That's a keystone on the north side of the building. MJJC is me, actually, and we put a new awning, or we upgraded the awning on the hotel. Kind of the first step in a lot of big steps coming with that building, but that got a big eyesore and a thing that was about to fall off the building fixed. So that was a big improvement. Goodland Furniture and Sleep Center, Dallas and Amber Burnt, we helped them with their new signage. Their landscaping didn't make it through a kind of a tough summer, but they're going to continue to work on that. But they got some nice signage on their building. Rod and Michelle Cooper were able to replace some storm-damaged awnings on a couple of their Main Street buildings, which really helped. Jackie's, if you haven't noticed, her storefront windows are amazing. That was a huge upgrade, not only visually, but I'm sure from just an efficiency standpoint, that's been a nice upgrade. So those turned out really good. And then Trevor did the same thing on Linton Financial with his storefront windows and the apartment windows upstairs as well. So tremendous upgrades to some key buildings on our Main Street. And we are continuing that again in 2026. So those recipients have been identified and their projects are underway, so more to come there. Okay, quick financial overview of where SCCD sits. So if you look at our revenue side, where our money comes from, we had, like I said, about $10,000 worth of grant money that came in. The public funding piece comes from the contribution from the city and the county, as well as transient guest tax funds. So that adds up to that about $380,000. $8,400 worth of program or private contributions really came around the Big Air ATV show and some support from the community to draw that in. And then program services, $48,000 through some of the money we collected from Flatlanders, a few other things that we do. So that's primarily where our revenue comes from. Our expenses at the other side, program services. So again, this is supporting things like Flatlanders, the Park and Play, Shindig, the Building Brilliance, the Downtown Holiday Events, YEC, the Youth Entrepreneur Challenge, the Christmas Lights. We supported the Gun Club with a pretty big expansion they made out there. Freedom Fest and the Main Street Crawl. So about $180,000 goes back out to support all of those events. And then a big chunk of our revenue goes to administration. So a lot of that is salary and benefits for our staff, and then just operating our organization. Asset-wise, you can see we're drawing down our cash a little bit from 24 to 25. A lot of that is because we have a pretty strong belief that money in the bank isn't working money at all. It ought to be in the community. So some of that is on purpose, but you can see we had a big 2025 and we spent a fair amount of money. Fixed assets, a little bit of a decline there too. Some of that's in depreciation, but some of that is just in some other assets that moved around. And then liabilities at the bottom, we have just a little bit of payroll tax liability, but really no liabilities in the organization. So just a quick rundown of who served on the board in 2025. So I served as the chair. Jeremy was our vice chair, Amy Cedarstrom as treasurer. Kent serves as the city representative on our board. Ashley serves as the county representative. And then Jennifer and Bill were original members on the board, and their term has now expired and they moved off the board. So we're starting now, after 6 years, our board will start to turn over as term limits come up now. And huge contributions from the two of them as we got established. So we're kind of missing their leadership a little bit, but we've got some new board members in 26 that are pretty exciting, and we're looking to grow. So, quick recognition of our staff, and they're in the room in case you guys have operational questions tonight, because the day-to-day, they're the ones that get it done. But Jessica is our tourism and travel director. Bert is our economic director, or economic development director, and like I said, they are the ones that keep this bus moving forward. They are really the ones that are responsible for all of these results. It's them driving these projects. Us as a board, we have great ideas and kind of cheerleaders sometimes and cheap volunteer support when they need us, but it's them that are really getting this done. Quickly just call out our partners. I've mentioned everyone here once, but it's worth mentioning again. So between the county and the city, obviously you guys are our financial support and where our operational budget really comes from. And then, like I said, we're really starting to partner closely with the foundation. We are able to help them put some of their grant dollars to use and to work in our community. So we're getting a very tight partnership with them. What we're excited about in 2026, a lot of things and a lot more of what we've done. So we're going to continue to work on expanding businesses and drawing new business to Goodland. We're constantly thinking about people that are close to retirement and need a transition plan. There are several in our community, so we're trying to connect young people with those that are ready to retire. We're going to continue to try to strengthen our workforce pipeline, so trying to partner with the college and figure out how all these young kids that are coming out with fantastic degrees and technical certificates stay in our community. We need to continue to increase access to capital for small business, so that $1 million that Bert was able to bring into the community, we got plans to do more than that in 2026. We're going to continue to find capital and pump it into this community. We'll continue to advance our regional marketing and recruitment efforts, so that's some work we want to continue with retail strategies, both regionally and nationally, to get Goodland's name on the U.S. radar and on the map, so people across the nation know that we're here and we're a great place to be. And then we continue to pursue strategic grants and other partnerships. The last thing I want to mention on here is some work we're doing right now to explore becoming a Main Street community. So Main Street Kansas is a program offered within Kansas Commerce, and then there's also a Main Street America, which is part of the Department of Commerce. And what that is a network association that focuses on expansion and revitalization of downtowns. So literally Main Street. It is a competitive program that you have to apply for, and it requires a strong organization. They want to see a board, they want to see bylaws, they want to see a full-time director. So it requires headcount as well. It would become what we would have viewed in the past as a chamber of commerce. So again, that chamber word has had some negative connotation in our community in the past, and we're trying to figure out a way to support our current businesses and really help them grow. And something like Main Street would be a way to tap into networking opportunities, but also unlocks a fair amount of grant dollars that aren't available to us that are just through that program. So we're starting to explore that right now. That is probably more of a 2027 accomplishment by the time we get through the whole process and figure out what we need to do. But if we're going to add headcount, it's going to require some financial support as well. So I will go to my next slide, and this is to leave food for thought, and I will come back with something more formal in the future. But we are going to need more support. If we're going to continue to have the success that we're having, we're doing it on a pretty limited budget, and things are going to take money. So we want to expand and potentially add headcount in terms of a Main Street director. That will require a salary and benefits and all the things that go along. Plus, they're going to need a little bit of a budget to do some things. So that's really 2027, and something to think about when you guys are building 2027 budget is there opportunity to allocate more to SCCD, and like I said, I'll have a formal request in the future. I want to give you a little idea on what the return on investment is right now. So the capital that we're provided now from the city and county is $140,000. 90,000 comes from the city and 50,000 comes from the county. That $140,000, we had Kansas Commerce run an analysis on that $140,000, and then the impact of what Bert and Jessica were able to do in 2025. That's a 719% return on your investment. So we think maybe if we can continue to provide you with a 700% return on your money, that maybe there's a little bit of room to ask for some more help. So we would like to have that considered for 2027. The other piece that's in front of us big for 2026 is our continued partnership with Retail Strategies. If we want to continue from this point forward, we need another $30,000 for 2026, and then we'll need $45,000 in 2027. So again, a more formal ask to come in the future, but I want you to think about that a little bit. They're doing a great job for us, and I'd like to tell you more, and I will in the future. But they really are getting our name on the national stage. But our budget, we've scraped what we can, and we're short that amount to continue our work with them. So more to come there. I think that was my last slide, probably just to wrap up there. So I appreciate your time. Again, for a visibility and accountability aspect, we're going to try to be in front of you once a quarter now. So you saw Bert and Jessica in the first quarter. You see me now in the second quarter. We'll be back in the third quarter and the fourth quarter with updates for you, so you know what we're up to, what's going on, and what's good in Goodland, because there's a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Just thank you for all that you guys are doing, both for the board, for Jessica, and everything that the entire group is doing, and Bert. So thank you.
A question quickly about Retail Strategies. It's if I understand kind of your presentation, it's a service that we pay for that gets our name out there, but there's also things that come along that we haven't been able to get because we haven't purchased anything moving on in the future. Is that right?
Yeah. So we entered into a 3-year contract that's renewable each year, so we're only locked in year for year. The cost of their service is $45,000 a year. We had enough in our budget to pay for year 1, and we've got enough to cover the first 15 a year 2, but we've got to make a decision here if we're going to do year 2. So they are a marketing company, and they put us out on the national stage in front of, think of any big national chain. They have contacts and ways to get us in front of that we locally don't have any opportunity. If I was going to try to go talk to a Texas Roadhouse. I don't even know who to call. They do. They know the people there. So they get us in the door. Year one was about evaluating our opportunities and what our market looked like, and then just starting to put our name out there. So they did that, and like I said, they helped us market the Steak and Shake building nationally. And then they approached a few chains that have been in Northwest Kansas in the past that don't have a big presence now about what their interest was to come back. Year two of their process is really to take that big amount of data that they put out there and start to boil that down to maybe some warm leads. So maybe they want to come back with a handful. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but they would have a specific number of warm leads to bring back that, hey, these businesses are interested, or these corporations are interested in Northwest Kansas or Good. And then year three, we would really try to get it down to a hot lead or two that may come to fruition. But most of this process, this is a long process to make this happen. It's a 3 to 5 year thing to get a national chain to look at you and want to come. So we're just kind of getting through getting our name out there and who we are and that we're open for business. And now we've got to make a decision if we're going to try to pursue some leads and try to turn something into fruition.
I remember seeing some initial data that came out in that first year, like as far as tracking people that were coming to town and
Yep.
kind of where they went from there. So I didn't know if there was still things later on that, we were trying to purchase with that. So
That's where we're at. So we've got that sort of base level out there. They put our name out there. They chased a couple things for us. Now, if we want to continue and start pursuing leads, we have to make that decision now if we want to continue.
And does the contract have to be renewed in order for you to even get the leads
Yeah.
to reach out to?
Yeah. So they've been pretty flexible with us through first quarter. We told them, hey, we need to get in front of our commissions, talk to the county, talk to the city, present you guys with some information that shows you, hey, we're doing some work here, and then, prove that maybe we're providing some value, and then you guys will need some time to take formal action if you choose. So they've been forgiving to let us have some time, but we're to the point where we have to give them an answer.
I appreciate your leadership, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. We'll start with item A, resolution 2026-08, authorizing the submission of an EDA FY25 disaster supplement grant application.
And this is related to our business that has been with Merchant McIntyre to be able to submit a grant to the Economic Development Administration. And it's tied to disaster that was already declared in fiscal year 25. But the actual grants follow it, I forget what time frame, 3 years or more regarding that. This is a grant that authorizes the grant application to actually be submitted, so.
Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns for Kent on resolution 26-08?
And the grant itself is regarding the project to deliver power to the industrial park for the grain mill and bakery.
So which step in that process is this? Is this still early steps in getting power out there?
Yeah, this is for the grant application for the overall project, to have a substantial grant from the EDA to provide the resources so that we can proceed. If we're not able to have any grant application, we'll have to go through another route to get the project accomplished.
The disaster supplement grant application was the one they felt like was kind of the leading contender for what we would probably have a good shot at getting then.
Yes. And in fact, that's what they've been pointing to from the beginning.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-08.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redland,
A second.
a second by Commissioner Cloyd. Mary, roll please.
Howard,
Yes.
Redland,
Yes.
Arthur,
Yes.
Cloyd,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We'll move on to formal actions. Item A, the quotes to replace media at the water treatment plant.
I can start this off, and Neil can probably provide some additional information regarding the media and the water treatment plant. In fact, I'll let him start by saying, what is the reason for this on your agenda?
Good evening.
Last time we changed media was in 2020. The media, we got 10 years out of it. It's supposed to be good for 5 to 7 years. We're in year 6, and a few months ago we took a sample of that media and sent it in to the company, and it's showing signs of plugging. So our pressure differentials are starting to climb. Our water rate coming into the plant is declining. So we're making some adjustments to try and bring as much water into the plant as possible, plus keep our nitrates down. So that's kind of where we're at. Mr. Brown and I have been looking at different companies with media. We had 2 that we've checked with. Lane was one of them, and you sent me the information for the other company. Got a hold of them. They got a hold of me right away with a quote to change the media, take the old media out, put the new media in, and do whatever they need to get us up and running again.
And the low proposal is from Carbon Enterprise Incorporated for $119,150. And that's basically 5 tubes,
Yes.
changing those out. And it's little beads within the tube.
Is that what the media is? I was
That's
gonna
what
ask,
the
what is
actual
the media?
media-
I don't even know what that is. Okay,
It looks like sand,
okay.
and I have a little container of it up at the water treatment plant that I'll show you for the
Yes, sir.
tours. But you can see the color difference of what's in the vessels now and what it's supposed to look like. So it is starting to get dirty. It's starting to get some plugging factors to it. It's not holding the nitrates as well as it was. So we've been talking for a few months. When we changed the media, they went off of the original plans, Lane did, and they sent us some stuff to put in with the media. And it caused so many problems for a long time. We spent days up there trying to get regions to go through, and they finally sent somebody out, and the first thing he said when he walked through the door was, "What's that white stuff in that vessel?" I said, "That's what I'm wondering." And they started going through, and it was in the original plans, but they never did put it in. So we had trouble getting that stuff out and putting new media in, and you have to put it in with a certain pump. If you put it in with the wrong pump, it breaks the media, and then it doesn't last very long. So there's certain pieces of equipment that you have to have, and I think the last time I checked, that pump was $22,000. So we've always, when we replaced our media, we got a hold of the city of Scott City. They had replaced their media twice, and they helped a couple other communities change their media. So we had them come out and help us change our media the first time. And it's a process. It's an all-day process that has to go, and it worked out really well.
So is this something that we should expect then to have to do every 5 to 6 years then?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of depends on our nitrates and the dirt and stuff that we get in with our salt. We have a pre-filter for the salt brine that comes through to try and keep a lot of that out of the media that we put in years ago, because that was becoming a big problem with the first media that we had. Was we had somebody from Lane come out and they said that it's really dirty, and once it gets in there, it's hard to get it out. And then you have nitrate breakthrough to where whatever you're pumping in is going straight out because it just kind of opens up that media. So
Gotcha.
5 to 7 years, and I even, this new company that we've been talking to, it's a different brand of media, so I had a bunch of questions, and I asked, what the life expectancy is, and he said 5 to 7 years, just like any other media that we work with.
Is that something we prepare for through SURF? I mean, we're saving up money for that.
We put aside money each year and we have, I think more than the amount on the bid set aside. I think it's 160,000 and change
Okay.
right now. But even with the remainder, then it's just saving up for the next time.
Sure.
That we have to take care of. So.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase for the water treatment media from Carbon Enterprises Incorporated for $119,000, $119,150. Sorry.
Have a motion by Commissioner Redland,
Second.
second by Commissioner Artser. Mary, roll please.
Redland,
Yes.
Arthur,
Yes.
Cloyd,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil. Move on to item B, the city shop roof replacement proposal.
I will defer to our street superintendent. Director of streets now is Ken McKee.
Good evening.
Even.
Well, as you can notice, we have a few different options. Roof Masters, they threw in on a bid for doing a seamless overlay over the whole thing, which was eliminating the guttering system. That's a problem, but the whole seamless roof overlay on it was leaving the existing roof and leaving all the moldy insulation inside. So that's why we're recommending Miller Construction with the 137, because he's willing to remove the roof, look into the see whether or not it's repairable, that gutter system, and if it's not, it's an additional $18,000, but he's willing to dig into it. Roof Masters is just wanting to do a rubber liner over that. I don't know if it's gonna last. We might be in the same boat if we go with the 114 that they came in. So that's kind of where we're at. Have any questions?
What's the warranty on the metal for the finish?
Matt didn't put it on his, but he might have some.
Excuse me. So the manufacturer has a 20-year warranty on materials, and I stand behind my word.
Right, okay. Sounds good.
You might
The
just,
the gutter is up for debate. You know, once we tear into that, it's had so many coats of whatever on it over all the years. It needs stripped down and assessed before you can really determine the integrity of that multi-gutter.
you might describe where the gutter is in relation to the building itself.
So the new addition over on half of the building, it's a different, so the original shop, they built on another shop, and there's a guttering system that's between the two, and that entire guttering system's wrapped with insulation, which when you guys come through Wednesday, I can show you on that deal. But all the water comes to one area and then runs out between the two, and it's really, the whole guttering system, I mean, our floor is completely.
It's leaking between the wall, if
Yes,
I remember
I mean,
correctly.
it's coming through the drain, gutter system, and, yeah, so.
Right there.
There's a gutter system that runs this roof line right here. This is a little higher than this roof, they both drain in and come out here, and I think that part of it goes to the back too. So, but on the inside of the shop, it's leaking, it's been leaking 10+ years. You can see the mold out on the seams coming out of the insulation.
Yeah.
So,
So that's why what you would be doing is pulling all that off to figure out the best approach is a Miller quote.
Now, in the roof on the south building too, that leaks everywhere too.
correct. So it'd be this entire rooftop here getting replaced. This one's still fine, but the gutter system in between two, they're gonna be repaired. Or replacing if it's not repairable.
So it says we had set back like 161 for this project, which comes in over what we're being quoted. I'm of the opinion that the extra $5,000 to do it locally is worth it to provide business to a local contractor.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
I agree with that.
And it's a new steel roof versus a overlay over the top of it.
That's where my big concern was. I
Huh?
didn't wanna leave that moldy insulation in that building. Yeah, the 20-year warranty that they threw on there, that's great, but like Matt says, you get that with regular metal too.
Mhm.
I mean, you're getting a 5-year workmanship, but I just don't feel like leaving the moldy insulation is an option.
Especially when you mention the mold. I think that's what really stood out.
That overlay that they're gonna do was, was kinda gonna re-peak it, but they're gonna leave that old guttering system in there, so. I mean, it's eliminating it, but it's still gonna stay in there, so.
Okay, so the 137 would be
Miller
with
Construction.
patching the gutter, or with doing the gutter work?
That's replacing. the
With
gutter.
replacing. So if they don't necessarily need replaced, it would be the 119?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't read that right the first time. Okay.
But with Miller Construction, they're at least
Yeah.
going to look into it, see if they
Yeah.
have to go with that, replacing the whole thing.
Is there gonna be an additional cost for replacing the gutter?
That was an alternate one.
It's 18,000 on top of the one.
That's the
Oh, okay.
137
So it's
figure.
137.
I just wanted to confirm
Yeah.
that, because that wasn't the information.
It's 137 total,
Okay.
if replaced.
Any other questions for Kenton or Matt?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid for the replacement of the city shop roof to Miller Construction for the range of 119,000 to 137,000. Does that work? Yeah, depending on gutter work, up to 137,000.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redlin, a second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll please.
Clayton,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Cool,
you guys.
thanks, Ken.
Move on to the contract mowing bid. Kent, we didn't have a lot to choose from this time. Doesn't look like just one bidder, right?
I was expecting it to have bids from 3 commissioners at least.
Not for me.
Zach has some additional
Okay,
information.
Zach.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We did receive one bid, that was all. It was for the total of $50 per hour. Obviously, I move to recommend that we approve this bid. It is helpful having that extra hand, as it's not always easy for our guys to get over there in a timely manner to do things, because they have other projects that they're working on.
What has been our bids in the past? Is that pretty close?
That's very close to the last year's bid, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the contracting mowing bid to Travis Jones for $50 an hour.
Motion by Commissioner Redlin,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. Mary, roll please.
Howard,
Yes.
Clayton,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you. Move on to item D, the library board appointments.
Mayor, members of the commission, the library board director has forwarded 2 appointments. One is for Brad Schick, who's volunteered to serve on the library board, and then a reappointment of Joy Hayden to continue serving on the library board.
Do we usually get applications for this one? Not for the
Just
library.
go to them and
Okay.
Okay, any questions, comments, or concerns on those applications?
I make a motion to approve Brad Schick as new for the library board and enter a new Joy Hayden's appointment to the board.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howard,
Second.
second by Commissioner Redlin. Mary, roll please.
Clayton,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you. Move on to item E, approve the 2026 utility charge-offs.
I will defer to the city clerk, Mary Volt, to describe the utility charge-offs. Or actually to Deputy City Clerk Sean.
It doesn't matter.
I'll say.
I feel like I've heard this enough, I could probably just.
That's what I was gonna say, you could probably just tell us.
Yeah. These are just, accounts that went almost 2 months being unpaid, and so then we turned them over to set off, and after 3 years, then they get turned to, charge off.
So these people, we can't collect on and we're,
Right, we send out
wiping off the
a
books.
10-day, a 15-day, a 30-day letter, and then at that time, we turn over to set off an AMS, and these are ones that after 3 years were not collected on any of that, from any of that.
but we
If they-
keep a list of those, and if they ever show back up in the city and they try to open an account, that
Yes,
goes
we
back.
do collect at that time.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, most of these are people that have moved away or deceased, things
Yeah,
like that.
mostly, yeah.
Okay.
And this is mainly for auditing purposes. It no longer shows on our books.
The one that stood out to me the most was the large amount with the CHHONA hotels.
Tahona.
Is that how, okay, perfect. For that one, is there anything that we could have done in advance so that it wasn't so high? Or was that?
That was the hotel that's out by Shiraz.
Yeah.
And we did everything that we could to collect. I feel like we do cutoffs if it's not paid by the end of the month, so they're due the 15th. We do cutoffs if they're not paid, and then so you're only looking at 2 months of
So
usage
it's
there.
because it was such a large property.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Was that not part of the sale? Like, did that not go into this? Is that the one that sold recently?
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't go into any of that?
We don't
Oh.
collect that.
Okay, I was also saw that one and I was wondering, cause I know
No.
they,
And this one, we just had his social security number.
yeah, done what you can, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I would make a motion to approve the 2026 utility charge-offs.
I second that.
I have a motion by myself, a second by Commissioner Cloyd. Mary, roll please.
Sorry, Jason was talking to me. Howard,
Yes.
Redland,
Yes.
Cloyd,
Yes.
Hartser,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you. All right, now Jason can talk. We'll move on to the drug terminator and incinerator proposal. Chief, you come on up.
No, I will defer to the police chief because he knows far more about this drug terminator incineration system.
This is when we dispose. Good evening, by the way.
Good evening.
This is our how we have disposed of drugs in the past. Is obviously we get a destruction order from the judge, and we dispose of those. In the past, we've done marijuana in a 50-gallon drum and just burned it outside of the police department. Then the whole town smells it. And the harder drugs, since fentanyls came along, a lot of that's mixed with meth, heroin, all that the different drugs. So we've been driving that to Hayes, and this is just a way better method. It's an incinerator. It'll completely destroy the drugs and take them down to ash. We can also put paraphernalia in there, like the meth pipes that we have tons of, and grinders and just all kinds of paraphernalia. Sterilizes those, so then we can destroy them. And it does it sterilizes needles. You can pretty much incinerate anything that you want, and it's going to be better for evidence, obviously, if it doesn't leave site and we destroy it on site, as opposed to taking it somewhere. So this will come out of our equipment fund, out of MRF.
Chief, I'm curious, is that something that other departments in the area have?
Nobody has it. That's why I've taken it to Hayes. Nobody has it. At least Colby didn't. I guess I didn't call everybody, but the people I did call around in this area that I remember, Hayes was the closest one that had an incinerator.
When you've taken it to Hayes, do we have to pay Hayes
No.
for their services? Okay.
They
I was
take.
thinking maybe it would bring some revenue if other departments had to pay us. Okay.
We talked about that's been brought up, and I feel like that, if we can help out our neighbors, that's gonna help us out in emergencies, or whatever the case may be, then I feel like we should help them out.
Especially if we didn't have to pay.
No,
For
we
taking
never did have,
photos.
no.
Okay.
Chief Schreibel in Hayes is awesome. No, he never charged.
You'll just save some time and gas money to go
Yeah.
down there.
Well, that and, yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily want to, I don't wanna commute with fentanyl in the back if
Yeah.
I have a rollover and there's fentanyl, I just don't, there's lots of things this would do, to make it better. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons that I feel like is a good idea. And we do get a lot of drugs, so,
Will this stay out at the police station?
yes,
Is it an outdoor thing?
when you do it.
When you
yes.
use it and then it can
Yeah,
go in?
I guess you start it with, any type of, charcoal, like the light match or whatever that charcoal is, or he said pretty much anything.
Okay.
He said you could even go to the, like, razors for scraps and use wood, to start it. I mean, just basically just something to start that fire inside of there, and that just cyclones and incinerates it. And it's completely safe. It doesn't emit those chemicals, as opposed to burning it, where if you burn fentanyl, then
That's in the air. and
yes,
things like that.
and that's extremely, extremely dangerous. And we have fentanyl and meth sitting back there right now that need to be destroyed.
And it's only 6,000 for the,
Mhm.
that's not bad for something like this.
Yeah, and I do have that money in that fund, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the drug terminator from Elastec for $6,010.
I'll second that. Mary, have a motion by Commissioner Redline, a second by myself. Roll, please.
Clayton,
Yes.
Arthur,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Redland,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Move on to item G, the progress update for 621 West 17th Street. Zach, I invite you back up.
No, wait for Zach.
Yeah.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
It appears that they have done some stuff today. The walls are all down and everything like that. I have not made any inspections. None has been requested yet, so I am unsure. That was Commissioner Cloyd's response last meeting, I believe.
I think I stated that too.
You said it was open, and I just figured you'd get a hold of us. I don't know, I didn't know you were gonna get a hold of
I'm not aware of when you're done with the work or completed with the work, so I have to be notified to know that you're completed with the work for me to inspect it.
Okay. So I messed up on that.
But that's all I know from the last meeting, is just from driving by at the outside looking at the street, so she may have more to add.
Is that following kind of the timeline of your expectations then, or?
We're way beyond my timeline. We are working on your timeline now.
Okay. Thank you. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Well, I think we've, completed all the things we had talked about. We got the walls down, we got the tar paper on the roof. If the porch is approved, then we'll go ahead and get the roof on right away. So,
Okay.
I think and we have the cellar door on, and it's totally enclosed, so.
Okay. So it sounds like the next step is we need to have Zach go over and inspect then. Zach, is that correct? Okay, so you can make contact with Zach and schedule time for him to come over and inspect?
Okay, yeah, I would've did that if I knew it was
Did
supposed.
did we get the roof Joyce, sister?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the update and, we appreciate you continuing to work on it. Just, you know, keep reaching out to Zach if you have questions and work with him on, trying to get the project completed. So that way we can move on and you don't have to come up here and visit us all the time. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything
And
else on this
when
front?
do we decide on the next?
Cause that was like phase one, correct? I mean, from the steps of the process.
I believe so. Yeah. Isn't it phase one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what's phase two? That's my question.
Okay, yeah, and what, are we giving getting a timeline on that?
Phase 2 is, I don't remember which
Yeah.
one it is. It's the windows or it's the inside?
Who's gonna go over it?
Zach is retrieving some documentation.
Yeah.
The original timeline would have been the roof repaired and watertight, roof sheathing and underlayment needs replaced and inspected before the shingles were installed, and the door made weathertight on the addition, and that was to be completed by December 19th. The second step would be the flooring system, and then all rotted and broken floor joists needing replaced, and then an inspection before the sheathing was installed. And that was supposed to be done by February 17th. And then by April 18th, the windows were supposed to be replaced, the doors made weathertight, the damaged siding replaced, and the structure painted to prevent any further decay. And then they did get the accessory structure removed and the property cleaned up a little bit, but there's still stuff on the ground. Obviously, they're working on it, so.
So with, if everything goes well with the inspection, whenever you get called out there, where will we be in this process?
Step 2,
Which is,
the flooring system in the addition repaired structurally and all broken and rotted floor joists needing replaced, and then the floor sheathing installed after inspection.
and you gave roughly
60 days.
60 days.
Are you,
And what's the date on that?
It was
We don't-
February, right?
are you
That
guys
would've been,
prepared to
yes.
do the flooring?
We started on the
Okay. You have the supplies, the equipment, the materials, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, we already sistered a couple floor joists.
Okay.
Had to do that before we finished the porch, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to get the wood down there. So we had to get the wood down there to get the joists.
So what it sounds like is an inspection needs to be done, and then I would say at the approval of that inspection, that would start the 60-day that you originally gave, 60-day time clock to do the next step, which is what Zach just said. But that's just what I
And what
heard.
is the end date on the 60 days then?
60 days from the inspection.
From the inspection.
But wait,
60 from
Yeah.
the-
let's wait a minute here, okay?
Okay.
We still have to put the shingles and everything on. It's dried in with tar paper, but it's not shingled yet.
No, cause you said all you had to do was have.
Have it dried in.
Because if you're gonna have us tear it down, we weren't gonna put shingles on.
Right, that's why I said dried in. So now we need to get the shingles on. If Zach approves it, we need to get the house shingled in so the tar paper don't blow off.
Right.
How quickly can you do that?
By weather's good, we could take this, yeah, this week if it's not blowing everything off. We've had some really nice days. It's windy sometimes, but I mean, sometime during the day we've been.
So if we said that that needs to be done by our next commission meeting on the 20th, but that would also be Zach getting over there, so you have to schedule that with him
It's been done, okay.
to approve, and the shingles done
Yeah, the shingles.
before April 20th. So that gives you some room if the weather's bad, but I would say like, no matter what, it would need to be done by April. For that stuff.
And that's the shingling and the inspection and the floor,
No,
not the flooring?
the flooring is.
Okay.
I mean, if you get the shinglings done, start the flooring and get a
Oh,
head
yeah.
start on all of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you certainly don't need to wait for us to approve every step. You can just go ahead and
Yeah.
Like,
just
let's,
keep working,
We
just get it
try
done.
to do that.
I think the overall goal is we want to get through this project as quick as we can.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
What do we?
well, I'm sure you do, but let's take advantage of the days we have and let's get this done.
Okay,
The-
so-
The only reason why I'm trying to break it down into steps for you, so it's not overwhelming to you. I know how projects get, and it gets overwhelming. I've got all this other list of stuff we gotta get done, and you'll jump from this and maybe try a little bit over here, do a little bit of this other stuff instead of just completing one thing at a time. Do that, do it well, get it done, and move on to the next step. And just keep it in a ladder form.
And I think we will work with you with that, as long as we're seeing progress.
So by the 20th, correct me if I'm wrong, we need an inspection by Zach, the shingles up. Do you need to check the shingles too, or are we good on that?
I can check them while they're doing them or after they're up, just to ensure that they're stapled or nailed correctly to the.
I think
So
we
do
just
we-
state that the inspection shingles are inspected by the 20th. That way we don't have this.
You'll have to reach out to Zach to get that scheduled.
Okay, so by the 20th, inspection by Zach, shingles on, and then we'll move on to the step 2. Cool. Cool.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you
everybody.
guys. Thanks.
All right, we'll move on to discussion items. County request for the trade right-of-way acquisition for the city in exchange for the Woolog building ownership.
We did have some discussion at last meeting, but they wanted to wait until we had a full board to make sure the discussion was complete before we take a step, whether to meet with the county or to have some communication back to the county ahead of time.
I think it was important to determine, like, there needs to be some value assessed to the building, and then also the right of way. And JJ did a lot of the footwork for that. If you want to share what you had.
I talked to realtor on Dryland Farm Ground close to the city. He said 3,500 an acre. If you take even $5,000 an acre, that easement going across there that they want to give us for the right of way is maybe 3 acres. So even at that, it's $15,000, and we've got a building sitting over here. The city insures it for 650, 700,000, whatever it is. If you went and bought a brand piece of ground and built a brand new building that size, just the shell is probably 300,000. So I think they're a little short on trading.
So long run, this whole idea, I believe, is to get Second Street pulled out to 24. We want to build Second
Right.
Street out so that we can develop out there. And I agree that there's probably some negotiating room with the county commissioners on this, because it would benefit a lot of people, not just the city. I'm under the impression we need to have a joint meeting. I believe we need to talk with the county about this.
So I would say after some consideration, I initially had met with Brett. He came over and just talked to me, to kind of pitch the idea. And, initially I was thinking, that's could be beneficial if we were able to, figure out a way to develop that area. I would say after thinking about it for a while though, I have some apprehension about it. And only because, when we look at our agreement to get fire protection services, over the last several years, we have worked to turn over our inventory of fire trucks. We don't have firemen anymore. We don't own the bunker gear. I'm nervous that the fire station is our only leverage in the situation. If we have any, things that come up over the next 10, 15 years that, maybe we take issue with, we don't really have a lot to bargain with. We don't have any chips to throw in.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the only thing we have is the fire station. And, we've had many commission meetings over the last 2 or 3 years where we've had joint meetings and talked about, we don't have any plans for that building. It is the fire station. I still feel that way. I'll feel that way as long as I sit in the seat. I don't want to see anything else over there. But I think it's somewhat a piece of insurance for us if we ever get into a bind in the future and we have disagreements with the fire board. And there's a great group there now. We don't have disagreements with them. We all work together great, but we're not always going to be in these chairs. So while I think we need to figure out a way to partner with the city or with the county to try to figure out how to develop that area out there, I just don't know that trading the fire station is the way that I want to do it.
I agree.
especially based on the cost estimates that JJ was able to pull, it almost seems like we should treat those two properties individually versus just a trade, which doesn't seem.
I know that
I
I know their biggest draw is they're trying to do some like renovation work. They wanna turn that building into something else. Well, I take that back. They want to do some updates to the building, but if you don't own the building, it's hard for them to put money into the building. I know that I think that's where they're coming from. But I don't know if there's a way that we can work around. I don't know. I don't know if that's something we need to talk with Jake and get Brett and Jake together to see if we can hammer out something that's gonna work. I don't know.
We need more land to develop in Goodland. There's not land as it is, and it doesn't come up very often that folks that own the farmland outside of town are willing to sell it at a sellable price. And there's rumblings that maybe that area out there will be sellable in the near future. And that's something worth considering, because there's not a lot of chances for us to be able to even afford, not even us, just anyone to be able to afford to develop that land if the people who own it don't want to sell it. And that's kind of, we need more houses in Goodland. That's been an issue for how many years, and there's just not much more space as it is right now to develop.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, you know, that we shouldn't look at ways to develop out there and figure out how to partner with them to do something. I just don't know that the fire station is the chip that I want to use to negotiate. Like, I am 100%, let's figure out how to work with them in that area, whatever that space is. If they want to buy that land to, you know, potentially put a road out there, then great, maybe we can figure out how we can partner with them on that. I just don't want to trade the fire station for that. If they, you know, want to talk to us about, you know, maybe paying for a share of whatever they're buying, or trying to figure out how we, you know, can partner with them on infrastructure out there, you know, I'm sure there's 1,000 ways we can figure it out. I'm not comfortable, you know, trading that building when in 15 years they may come, you know, the fire board may say, we need $1 million more from you in order to continue to protect the city from, you know, for fire. And we're gonna have to say, okay, we can argue, but we're not gonna have anything to say, well, we have the fire station.
Yeah, and
So
we
more
also
of a partnership now
Yeah,
with
right,
having
yeah.
the building.
we also have that section of land out here that's already platted for rebuild, or for building new homes and stuff. So like, we just haven't had a lot of interest.
Where at?
Well, we don't own that, right?
No.
No,
that
it's
plotted
just
land we don't
platted,
own.
it's
just
not-
plotted.
We own the land that's
I thought
in between Topside Manor and the land the county's talking about.
I thought we owned that. That's my fault.
I guess I don't understand the relationship we have with the fire department, with that Bullock building. I don't fully understand the whole relationship. It might be worth me sitting down with Kent to talk more about
Basically,
it.
from those two ponds, which is the water stream left over, after the media has worked on the water. That's the two ponds from the water treatment plant. Everything to the side of it and to the north of it in one shade of green.
If you go out, if you drive out there today or tonight or tomorrow, whenever, that is all planted to wheat
Mm-hmm.
that the city owns.
Now, north of this red, which is zoned R2, this is what you were talking about, Brock.
Mm-hmm.
It's next to Irish.
Irish.
And they actually, that's a different owner.
Okay, I
And then this
thought that was
owner
us.
is August Tompkins, trust. And that's the ground parcel that the county has been talking to the owners with. So that shade of green is what they're talking about as far as
The right of way.
where Josh has the cursor now, that's city owned. Right now, which we had talked about with Connor Hampton on the latest MIH proposal. And he's starting to put together, he's gonna come with another proposal, I think, at some point in the near future. It may or may not involve KHITC or MIH, or it might be just without them. But he's looking to redo his proposal. Now, the one thing I would say through all these negotiations regarding this parcel that, or little right-of-way that the county is offering, is I wouldn't want the expectation from the public to be that the road's gonna be built by the end of 26.
Yeah.
Or the end of 27, or the end of 28, unless substantial things, other things would happen. Because a road that long would cost significant dollars, and without additional development, housing development, and that would even, might get us part of the way there. It might have to take 2 or 3 sections of development to occur. But I wouldn't want to have the public expectation, because I got told that 4.5 years ago when it started. We need to punch that Second Street out to K27 like forthwith, like really quick. It would also take an agreement with KDOT in order to make that happen. It would be a better entrance to the hospital, obviously, but there would be a lot of other things to make happen. Right away is, like you asked Angie earlier, is this which step of the process? This right away is like step A, and
Step
we'd
A.
have to get to step U and step V before we get it there, so.
I had a conversation with a county resident last week about, what the city's interest would ever be in purchasing this land. And, I kind of let my feelings be known that maybe we weren't 100% ready for a commitment like that. And they had brought up a question, and it might be good that Andrew's here, because this was a question about the 8th Street project. Because they said, well, how are the ambulances going to get to the hospital when you do the 8th Street project? You're going to need to buy that, put a road there so the ambulances can get there. And I don't know that I had a good answer for that. I said, I imagine they're probably not going to close the entirety of 8th Street down so no one can traverse that way. But I assume that was probably the correct direction, right? But we don't need to put in another street so people can get to the hospital, right?
Year-round traffic control.
Okay.
That's something we coordinate with EMS and the hospital, but that all happens. Yeah, no, 8th Street will not be closed in its entirety for that project.
Okay. That's what I figured. That's what we talked about, so.
I do think that we need to annex that in for future expansion. Is it?
August's property is not,
Oh, no, but our portion is.
but the city's portion is, yes.
So other than putting a road in there, are there any other needs, any other reason the city would need that property? Do we need to, for some reason, if we had a huge housing expansion out there, would we need that right away for utilities, or is there any other reason other than a street we'd need that property?
You would definitely need it for utilities to extend water and sewer out to that area. The other thing that might come about if it was the entire parcel is the water rights associated with the parcel. I don't know if there are any or if there's something, but that would be additional purchase price. It would certainly not be in the low range, obviously, regarding water rights, but anytime you have an opportunity to obtain additional water, it would be a good idea for the city. But the utilities, water and sewer and electric, just to have the room, at least, and that's before the property would be platted. So there would be additional roads, there would be additional right-of-ways, there would be additional easements, drainage easements, etc., to figure out and to have drawn on a map.
So in other words, it could be valuable for us to possess. I mean, there are reasons to have it other than just a road.
There is.
But it could be a conversation that's separate from a trade with the fire department building.
Yeah, I think the commission is making a good point right now as far as, are those two issues tied together or not? Or are they two separate topics?
And Commissioner Archer, to answer your question, just kind of in a nutshell, the city gave up their own fire department several years ago and contracted with the county to provide fire protection services. And then over time, you know, we pay them a price for that service, and we have given them our fire trucks and equipment. We've turned that over to the county. They own all of that. The only part that we own right now is the fire station.
So you're nervous if we didn't own any of it that they could, or someone along the way could try to price gouge us more or less?
You know,
for
I'm just
protection?
nervous that if there was ever a conversation about what that service would cost us, that without having some chip in the pot that we could negotiate with, we might have to make an agreement that we don't want to, so.
That was needed background for me. I was not, I mean, just honestly, I was not aware of that, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Still has its contribution, so it still has the power of the purse and some of that as well. So, although we merged, but we did agree with that new fire district that was kind of our control factor, and also on the breakdown of who was on the fire board and all that
Mhm.
stuff too.
So we do have some other control
You
mechanisms there other than just that.
You do, but again, right? I agree with you. Don't want to give away the farm.
No.
But,
Yeah.
but the idea is don't lose sight that there is still some things in
Gotcha.
place there.
Okay.
No, we don't have a say on the board.
We have the right to nominate people.
Do we?
Yes.
Okay.
So almost like, maybe we just need to open up different sorts of negotiations for this.
Yeah, I have no problem talking to them about
Yeah.
figuring out how we can work something out with this property. I think we do, you know, at least both of us need to have some interest in it. It needs to be at least government owned for what government that is, you know. With the amount of expansion that we hope will come to Goodland, we will need that property. So I'm glad that, you know, one of us is gonna own it.
And if there's upgrades that they would like to make, maybe it's, again, a separate conversation and tie it into whatever the rental agreement is or the contract agreement, say, you know,
You know,
that way they feel more secure. I just think that they should be handled separately. That's just my own.
I have gotten the impression, you know, with different conversations we've had in these joint meetings, that they do have some nervousness about the solidity of our agreement with the fire station. Like, you know, we had made it, I thought, apparent, you know, a couple of years ago that if they wanted to do any kind of, you know, upgrades, that they could go ahead, that we weren't gonna pull the rug out from under them and take the building away from them. But, you know, I don't know what that looks like as far as contract wise, if we need to make some concessions to allow them to feel like they can make additions to the building or
Yeah.
remodel. I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
digging down to why
maybe it's
they
ju-
want the building exactly.
yeah, maybe
What
it's,
is the reasoning?
maybe it's to see like I'd like to see like what they're trying to look towards.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, maybe then there's something then we can come in and like say, hey, we'll divvy out and help with this. That way, you know, it's not your funds going towards it. Like we want to show that we're being.
We just need to talk with them. I think
I
we
think
all
so.
agree we just need to talk with the county commission to figure out what it is they're seeking from this.
Great, let's have a meeting.
Do you need to make a motion or anything?
I think we just need to give Kent some direction to work with the county commission to come up with some dates that work for them and talk about it at our next meeting. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Great.
Excellent. We'll move on to reports. The city manager, Kent.
Included in your packet is manager memo as well as the March month and fund balance report. There's also a copy of the dividend check from EMC Insurance, which they make note of on an annual basis. I also left a page at your desk for a tour this coming Wednesday. We'll start at 4:30 in the afternoon. Correct?
Yes,
I'll put it on
4:30.
there. If that will work with everybody. And we'll start at the swimming pool, because there's a couple items that I want to point out to you at the swimming pool. And some things that maybe come up for decision while some of you are still on the board. At some point, not saying tomorrow. months or years down the road. And then work through a number of city facilities until we end up at the police department. And that's not to hand you off to the police chief, but to
Say that's the last one on the list. Do we get to leave?
and he will allow all of you to leave the police department as well, so.
That's good. Do we want to meet here at 4:30, or are we just meeting at the pool at 4:30?
Meet at the pool,
Meet at the pool. Okay,
and we'll start there.
perfect.
Also want to announce spring cleanup will be May 7th and 8th. We'll have, as we usually do, notifications out to residents what's appropriate to leave out for spring cleanup, but we have a combination of departments. It's mainly the street department, but there's also members from other departments that participate and clean up, and it's left at your curb and they pick it up all over town, so.
As,
There-
sorry,
Go ahead.
as commissioners, what can we do to help with spring cleanup? Besides maybe actually helping, like grab things. Besides that,
You just asked what can you do in the cleanup as long as you don't have to clean it up.
It'd just be sharing with the community, right?
Get the word out, yeah.
Getting the word out, yeah.
alright.
Lemonade stand, just follow.
I was
the
gonna say I'll bring waters or something.
And I believe there's some restrictions in, as far as what can be picked up, correct?
Ken, would you like to speak with that quickly? You'll probably do it more succinctly than I can.
It's a good word.
I'm trying to use as many $10 words as possible.
Yeah, you're doing great.
No hazardous waste, that includes batteries, oils, no refrigerant, so we don't take, refrigerators anymore, deep freeze. If someone leaves us a freezer full of rotten meat, the county won't take that unless it's cleaned out, so it's really on them to bag it up on their own and separate it, because they want it separated out there. We've had that in the past. Not too pretty when you have to open it up, but.
No.
What about furniture?
Furniture, we pick up furniture. It's basically limbs. We pick up limbs, furniture, and we don't pick up yard waste.
No tires.
And no tires.
Washers and dryers are,
Yep, that's just metal. So
that's yes?
yep, we pick washers and dryers. No concrete.
In
lim-
large quantities. I mean,
Yeah, we do pick up small quantities. That just goes to our yard. Big quantities.
And it needs to be moved to the curb, is
Yep,
that correct?
it'll go to the curb. Preferably on the front of the people's yards.
And how early can they have it out there so it's not a nuisance?
You know, as soon as it's out, you're gonna start seeing people putting it out now.
But the
I don't-
weekend before is usually not a problem.
Yeah, a week before is usually not a problem, but like I said, like, you're gonna start seeing it. Once we start advertising, you'll start seeing it already. We've seen this numerous last
Maybe-
4 or 5 years.
Do we know in the high school fall? That's fall cleanup, isn't it?
Yeah,
Never
the fall
mind.
cleanup, and that's just
Never mind.
leaves.
Yeah,
We help with
yeah. Never
Tommy
mind.
and
That's a long
high
resume.
school, so. But any other questions on that?
You guys tell Ken to let the tractor this time?
Are you licensed?
I'll put you on the front end motor.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Good lord.
Come down for
He
some
didn't say
training.
drive, he said put you on the front.
Yeah.
But you guys are more than welcome to come out and help though if you want to, so
There you go, Sarah.
take
Yep,
y'all
there you
on.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
Also included in your package is the police monthly activity report. And then I'll ask building official Hildebrand to come back up regarding a couple additional properties.
Evening.
All right, 3 properties there in front of you are properties that I've received complaints about. 408 West 6th Street is a property the commissioners have dealt with in the past, about 10 years ago roughly. I did get with the property owners. They have started to make progress on getting that yard cleaned up. And there's 2 trailers full of scrap metal basically that have been pulled out of that yard in the last couple weeks. So we're making progress on that one. I told them I'd continue working with them as long as they're working with me. 806 West 15th Street and 810 West 15th Street are owned by the same owner. It was his parents' house. They have passed away. 806 West 15th Street does need a lot of siding and stuff work done to it that way. He is working on getting that done. He said he should have it finished up by next week, roughly. So, the 810 West 15th Street's the little bigger of a concern. The garage, the roof on it's actually collapsing in on itself. So, he's trying to get a timeline and figure out how much it's going to cost and if he's going to be able to do it himself. So, I'm trying to allow him the opportunity to do that. And those were the only reports I had for you.
Excellent. Well, I know I've said this 100 times, but we appreciate your work on this. I think probably easily the most phone calls I get is about blighted properties, so appreciate your work on that.
I'm glad to hear that they're working on making progress on all 3 of those.
Now you can go. All right, do we have any other questions for our city manager? If not, I'll move on to commissioner reports, starting on my right with Commissioner Artser.
Thank you to the police department for the Easter egg hunt. It looked like it was a good turnout, it looked fun, and yeah, I don't think there were any other local, like government funded Easter egg hunts, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cloyd?
Nothing additional to add?
Commissioner Redland?
I received a lot of appreciation for the building checkups that the police department has been doing. So it does not go unnoticed. So thank you for doing that.
Commissioner Howard?
Nothing to report.
And for the mayor's report, I'd just say that I got to attend Bill Fulcher's retirement party last week and present him with a plaque, and just want to say to him, Mr. Fulcher, and also to Judge Taylor, who I'm sure we'll make contact with and have her come see us later. But thank you for your years of service to the city of Goodland, not only as police officer, but as the working for the street crew, and so appreciate everything Bill did, and same for Leanne. I remember her working for many, many years in the basement of the police department before she rose to the level of the high judge. So thank you, Leanne, wherever you're at tonight, for all of your work. Thank you. And with that, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that. I have a motion by Commissioner Redland, second by myself. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion adjourned.